So I can't believe that I haven't had an opportunity to talk about this book. I mean, I've had plenty of opportunity, I suppose, but I haven't talked about the book yet. In fact, I had to go back and re-look at all the videos that I've recorded to make sure I haven't talked about it, because it is one of those books that I feel so passionately about. And maybe that's why I held off, because I feel like I've talked about it so much to the people around me. But the book that I want to tell you about today is The Poet by Elizabeth Acevedo. So Elizabeth Acevedo is this dynamic, amazing, wonderful author. The Poet X was her debut novel, and then since then, she's been hitting hard with her follow-ups. With The Fire on High was her second. Clap When You Land, I believe, is her third. All very worthy titles, and I hope to talk about those other ones in the future. The Poet X won the National Book Award and went on to win several other very important awards for YA literature. Some of the blurbs on this book, just to give you an idea of how esteemed Elizabeth Acevedo's debut novel already is. Laurie Hall Sanderson, right, the author of Speak. Daniel Jose Older, the author of the Shadow Shaper Cipher series. Justina Ireland, the author of Dread Nation. Jason Reynolds, National Book Award finalist, author of Ghost. You know, poet laureate, I can't think of, ambassador for young people's literature for the Library of Congress. E.B. Zaboy, author of American Street. These are all people singing Elizabeth Acevedo's praises. This book, The Poet X, her debut novel, is about a young Dominican girl named Xiomara Batista, who is growing up and is really one of the biggest challenges that she's facing, and really the kind of the heart of this book is the wrestling between two cultures and the wrestling between expectations and your own desires. So she's Dominican, and her mom has very high expectations for her, is very religious as well, and has very specific religious expectations for her. And Xiomara is a young girl in modern life that's wrestling with that understanding. Her mom and her don't agree about issues of sexuality and sexual interaction. They don't agree about what Xiomara should be spending her time on. Xiomara ends up getting involved in a slam poetry group, which at first she's not really feeling, but once she gets into it, she falls in love with it, and she really wants to be a part of it and engaged in it. And her mom very much opposes that. So it's that sort of wrestling between issues and between cultures. Now, one of the things that makes this book so great is this is a novel in verse. So this book goes quick. You know, I mentioned this when I talked about A Long Way Down, I believe, that this book will, I mean, you basically can tear through this book in a day, you know, easy. But it is beautiful, it is powerful, and even better than the book, I highly recommend you try and pick up the audiobook. And I encourage you to try and watch videos where Elizabeth Acevedo is performing these poems in the book, because she is such a good poet, such a powerful performer. So I highly recommend, if you haven't, that you find The Poet X and that you pick it up.